First Contact's price. The void between Jupiter and Saturn sparkled with the lights of humanity's most ambitious project yet, Research Station Helios. Its rotating rings and gleaming solar arrays marked mankind's first permanent deep space installation, home to 300 of Earth's brightest minds. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck's window, her dark eyes reflecting the distant sun as she recorded her daily log. Day 847 of the Deepscape Initiative. Our quantum sensors continue to detect unusual patterns at the edge of the solar system. The mathematics suggest intelligence behind the signals, but we need more data to be certain. The Board of Sciences still thinks we're chasing ghosts, but I know we're on the verge of something unprecedented. She paused the recording, rubbing her tired eyes. 3 years of research, countless hours of analysis, and still no concrete proof to show Earth's governments. But the patterns were there, too precise to be natural, too complex to be random space noise. The station's alert system shattered her contemplation. Not the usual warning chimes of system maintenance or solar flare activity, but a deep, resonating alarm she'd never heard before. The observation deck's screens flickered to life, displaying feeds from the station's outer cameras. They emerged from nowhere, massive ships of obsidian and crimson, their hulls adorned with patterns that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. 7 of them, each larger than the station itself, surrounding Helios in a perfect formation that spoke of military precision. This is Dr. Sarah Chen, Priority 1 emergency broadcast. She spoke into the station's comm system, her voice steadied despite the fear gripping her chest. Unknown vessels have appeared near the station. To any Earth forces monitoring this channel, the first shot came without warning or demands for surrender. A beam of intense purple energy lanced through the station's primary ring, severing it like paper. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut as atmosphere vented into space. Screams and warnings flooded the comm channels. Sarah ran for the emergency pods, her mind racing. The station's cameras continued broadcasting, documenting humanity's first contact even as more beams carved through Helios. She reached the pod bay just as Captain Rodriguez, the station's security chief, was organizing evacuations. "Get in," he shouted, pushing her toward one of the remaining pods. "We're making sure these feeds reach Earth. They need to know what happened here." The last thing Sarah saw before her pod launched was Rodriguez running back to help more survivors, even as another energy beam split the station in half. Her pod's automated systems activated, plotting a course for Earth as Helios died behind her. The attack lasted less than 15 minutes. Of 300 station personnel, only 47 pods escaped. As they fled toward Earth, their sensors recorded the alien vessels methodically reducing Helios to atoms, ensuring nothing salvageable remained. On Earth, the response was immediate and unprecedented. Ancient rivalries and political divisions evaporated in the face of an existential threat. Within hours of the Helios footage reaching Earth, the United Earth Defense Council was formed. 6 months later, in a classified facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a massive viewport, watching construction drones swarm around humanity's answer to the alien threat. The TSS Aegis took shape in the underwater dock, its hull incorporating everything they'd learned from analyzing the Helios attack footage. Admiral James Harper, the newly appointed commander of Earth's first true warship, stood beside her. "The quantum patterns you detected," he said, his weathered face grim. "They weren't random signals, were they?" Sarah shook her head. "They were scanning us, learning about us. The attack on Helios wasn't random. They knew exactly where to hit us, how to hurt us the most." "Then they don't know humans very well," Harper replied, watching as workers installed the main weapon systems. "We don't break easily, and we definitely don't forget." The Aegis represented everything humanity could achieve when united by a common purpose. Its hull incorporated metamaterials that could absorb and redirect energy, directly inspired by the alien vessel's design. The weapon systems, while based on human technology, had been enhanced by insights gained from studying the attack footage frame by frame. But the ship's true strength lay in its crew, survivors of Helios, veteran military personnel, and the finest minds Earth could offer. Every person aboard would carry the memory of that first contact, channeling humanity's grief and determination into action. They thought they were sending a message, Sarah said, touching the viewport glass, showing us how insignificant we are. And we're about to send one back, Harper nodded. Humanity isn't as helpless as they think. The Aegis will prove that. The next day, as Sarah prepared to board the Aegis as its chief science officer, she made one final log entry. Day 1 of Project Aegis. To the aliens who destroyed Helios. You thought you were teaching us our place in the galaxy. Instead, you taught us how quickly humanity can adapt, how fiercely we can unite against a common threat. You showed us your power, but you forgot something crucial. Humans have faced extinction-level threats before. Each time, we've emerged stronger. The Aegis isn't just a warship, it's humanity's promise to the stars. We will not go quietly. We will not cower. And we are coming for you. Steel and resolve. The TSS Aegis cut through the darkness of space, its advanced hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. 3 months into their maiden voyage, the crew had settled into a rhythm that belied the tension underlying their mission. The ship's revolutionary quantum sensors, refined versions of those that had detected the first alien signals, swept space constantly for signs of the enemy. Commander Maya Santos stood at her tactical station, analyzing the latest sensor data. Unlike traditional warships, the Aegis's bridge was arranged in a circular pattern, with Admiral Harper's command station at the center. The design allowed for faster communication and better coordination. Lessons learned from studying the Helios attack footage. Contact, Maya announced, her fingers dancing across the holographic display. 3 signatures, bearing 047. Energy patterns matched the Helios attackers. Admiral Harper's expression remained neutral, but his eyes hardened. Show me. The main display lit up, showing 3 massive vessels similar to those that had destroyed Helios. But this time, they weren't hunting defenseless researchers. This time, humanity was ready. They're pursuing something, Dr. Chen reported from her science station. Another ship, smaller, different design. It's damaged. Putting it on screen, Maya said. The vessel appeared on their display, sleek, organic-looking, with what appeared to be crystalline growths along its hull. Plasma leaked from multiple breaches in its structure. We're receiving a distress signal, Communications Officer Patel announced. It's not like anything in our databases. Harper stood, his decision already made. The Helios attackers showed no mercy. Let's show them the difference between humanity and whatever they are. Battle stations. Red alert klaxons sounded throughout the ship as the crew moved with practiced efficiency. The Aegis's revolutionary drive system, capable of manipulating space-time itself, surged with power. Incoming transmission from the lead enemy vessel, Paddle reported. They're laughing. A harsh, grating sound filled the bridge, something between mechanical grinding and cruel amusement. A voice spoke in heavily accented English. Human vessel. This sector belongs to the Kraxan Empire. Retreat or be destroyed. Harper's reply was calm. This is Admiral James Harper of the TSS Aegis. We watched you massacre defenseless humans. Now face someone who can fight back. The Aegis moved with impossible speed for its size, its hull configuring in real time to optimize for combat. The Kraxan ships launched energy beams similar to those that had torn through Helios, only to watch in shock as the Aegis's hull absorbed and redirected the energy. Return fire, Harper ordered. Show them what humanity's been working on. The Aegis's main weapon didn't fire energy beams or traditional projectiles. Instead, it launched what Dr. Chen called space-time lances, weapons that briefly warped the fabric of reality itself. The first lance struck the leftmost Kraxan ship, and where it hit, space itself seemed to twist. The alien vessel's hull crumpled like paper, its own mass becoming its enemy. By the void. The Kraxan commander's voice had lost its arrogance. What is this weapon? This? Harper's voice carried just a hint of satisfaction. This is human ingenuity. This is what happens when you push us too far. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. 2 Kraxan ships were destroyed, their mighty hulls torn apart by weapons they couldn't comprehend. The third retreated, leaving behind their intended prey. As the dust settled, the Aegis established contact with the rescued vessel. The beings they met defied explanation, crystalline entities that communicated through pulses of light and thought. We are the Luminara. Their leader, who called itself First Light, explained through a hastily constructed translation matrix. We have fought the Kraxan Empire for decades, watching them consume world after world. Never have we seen them flee in such fear. Dr. Chen leaned forward, fascinated. The Kraxan, they're the ones who destroyed our research station. Yes, First Light's crystal form pulsed with anger. They seek to dominate all spacefaring races. Those who refuse to submit are eliminated. We have led a resistance, but our weapons, they were not enough. Harper and Chen exchanged looks. Here was an opportunity, not just for revenge, but for something greater. Perhaps, Harper suggested, we could help each other. You know the Kraxan Empire. We have the weapons and the will to fight them. First Light's crystalline form glowed brighter. You would ally with us. After just learning of our existence, the Kraxan taught us we're not alone in the universe, Chen replied. They meant to teach us fear. Instead, they taught us the importance of standing together. As arrangements were made to repair the Luminara vessel and establish formal communications with their civilization, Harper recorded a message to Earth Command. First contact was a tragedy. Second contact has given us hope. The Kraxan Empire thought they were showing the galaxy their strength by destroying Helios. Instead, they revealed their greatest weakness. They don't understand that true strength comes not from domination, but from unity. They don't understand humanity, and that will be their downfall. The hunter becomes the hunted. Deep in what the Luminara called contested space, the TSS Aegis moved silently through the void. 2 months had passed since their first encounter with the Kraxan, and humanity's warship had been busy. Working with Luminara intelligence, they'd mapped key Kraxan supply routes and military installations. Stealth systems holding, Maya reported from Tactical. The Luminara had shared their crystal tech camouflage technology, which the Aegis's engineers had integrated with remarkable speed. The Kraxan patrol ships are passing right by us. Admiral Harper watched the enemy vessels on the main display, 5 of them, escorting what intelligence suggested was a major supply convoy. After the Aegis's debut battle, the Kraxan had doubled their escort presence on all major routes. It hadn't helped. Fascinating, Dr. Chen murmured, studying readings from the convoy's lead ship. They've modified their shields since our last encounter. They're trying to adapt to our space-time lances. Can they stop them? Harper asked. Chen's smile was grim. They're trying to reinforce space itself around their ships. Clever, but she manipulated her controls. We've already developed countermeasures. The bridge crew had changed since their mission began. Gone was the raw anger that had driven them after Helios. It had been replaced by something more dangerous. Cold, calculated determination. They'd learned the Kraxan's patterns, their weaknesses, their arrogance. All stations report ready, Communications Officer Patel announced. Luminara strike teams standing by. Harper nodded. Begin Operation Ghostlight. The Aegis's new crystal tech engines powered up silently. Ahead, space rippled as 3 Luminara ships decloaked, their crystalline hulls catching starlight. The Kraxan escorts reacted immediately, moving to engage what they thought was a standard resistance attack. They never saw the Aegis coming. The human warship materialized behind the convoy's rear guard. The space-time lances had been modified with Luminara crystal technology, making them even more devastating. The first shot didn't just breach the Kraxan ship's hull. It caused the reinforced space around it to collapse, crushing the vessel into itself. By the Empire, the Kraxan commander's voice crackled over the comm. It's the human ship. All vessels, converge. Not this time, Harper interrupted. Maya, show them the new targeting system. The Aegis fired again, its weapons striking with surgical precision. The Luminara had provided detailed schematics of Kraxan vessel design, allowing them to target critical systems with pinpoint accuracy. 2 more escort ships died before they could even turn to fight. Luminara boarding teams away, Paddle reported. They're moving on the supply ships. The remaining Kraxan escorts found themselves caught in an impossible position. The Aegis before them, Luminara raiders behind them, and their own supply ships being taken from within. Their commander made the only choice he could. Full retreat. Signal the Empire. The humans heir. His transmission cut off as his ship disappeared in a flash of twisted space. The last escort followed quickly, leaving the supply convoy defenseless. Hours later, as Luminara teams secured the captured vessels, Dr. Chen brought her findings to Harper in his ready room. These ships weren't just carrying supplies, she said, displaying holographic data. They were transporting quantum communications technology. With this, we can tap into the Kraxan Empire's entire command network. Harper studied the data. Can they detect us if we do? No. Chen's eyes gleamed with professional appreciation. Their quantum security is impressive, but they never expected anyone to have both human and Luminara encryption expertise. We're effectively invisible. Harper allowed himself a small smile. So now we can hear everything they say, track every order they give. And they still don't understand how we keep finding them. Chen finished. They think we're using conventional tactics, just with superior technology. They haven't realized that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our space-time lances or crystal tech. Oh, Harper raised an eyebrow. It's our ability to adapt, to combine technologies and strategies in ways they never imagined. Chen gestured at the captured data. The Kraxan Empire has ruled through fear for so long, they've forgotten how to innovate. Every time we surprise them, they try to counter our last move, while we're already 3 moves ahead. Harper turned to the viewport, watching Luminara ships securing their prizes. Send word to Earth Command. Phase 1 is complete. We've proven the Kraxan can be hurt badly. Time to begin Phase 2. Taking the fight to their core worlds. Chen asked. Better. Harper's reflection smiled in the viewport glass. We're going to show every species under their control that the Empire isn't invincible. The Kraxan taught us fear was their weapon. Now we're going to teach them something. Fear works both ways. Breaking chains. The planet Vexnar loomed before the TSS Aegis, a massive Kraxan military installation that had stood unconquered for centuries. Its orbital defense platforms bristled with weapons, while a fleet of warships maintained constant patrol patterns. It had been designed to be impregnable. Hard to believe this was all built by slave labor, Maya said quietly, studying the tactical display. Representatives from a dozen subjugated species had provided intelligence about this fortress world, each sharing stories of their people's suffering under Kraxan rule. Admiral Harper stood at the center of the bridge, watching real-time feeds from their cloaked probes. The Aegis had spent weeks gathering intelligence, preparing for what would be their most ambitious operation yet. Behind them waited the largest resistance fleet ever assembled. Luminara crystalline ships, organic vessels from the aquatic Merkai, and reformed Kraxan ships crewed by liberated slaves. Signal from Earth Command, Patil announced. Operation Avalanche is approved. Harper nodded. In the months since they'd begun striking at the Empire, Earth's shipyards had been busy. 2 more vessels of the Aegis class had been completed, incorporating lessons learned from their campaign. But today, the original Aegis would lead the charge. Send the recognition codes, Harper ordered. Dr. Chen, working with their captured quantum communications technology, had discovered something fascinating about Kraxan security protocols. Their arrogance had led them to believe their codes were unbreakable, so they rarely changed them. Codes transmitted, Chen reported. Their systems are accepting our credentials. We're being identified as a high-priority Imperial vessel. The Kraxan defense grid parted before them, their own protocols betraying them. The Aegis glided through the gap, its stealth systems masking its true nature until the last possible moment. All ships, Harper's voice carried across the Resistance fleet's secure channel. Execute Operation Avalanche. The Aegis dropped its cloak first, its weapons already firing. The space-time lances, now enhanced with both Luminara and Merkai technology, struck the nearest defense platforms. Space twisted and warped, turning the mighty stations into their own graves. Behind them, the Resistance fleet decloaked in waves. Luminara ships targeted communications arrays with crystalline precision. Merkai vessels released swarms of organic torpedoes that ate through Kraxan hull plating like acid. The freed slave ships, knowing Kraxan tactics intimately, exploited every weakness in their formations. Enemy fleet is responding, Maya reported, her fingers dancing across tactical controls. But they're confused. Half their ships are still responding to old command codes. They're firing on each other. The battle for Vexenar became a testament to everything humanity had learned about warfare among the stars. The Aegis moved like a dancer through the chaos, its advanced targeting systems allowing it to strike with surgical precision, while avoiding damage to civilian infrastructure below. Multiple signals from the surface, Patel called out. The slave populations are rising up. They're taking control of ground facilities. Harper allowed himself a grim smile. This was the true purpose of Operation Avalanche, not just to capture a strategic target, but to show every oppressed species in the Empire that resistance was possible. Message from the Kraxan fleet commander, Chen announced. They're requesting terms of surrender. The bridge fell silent. In all recorded history, no Kraxan commander had ever surrendered. Their empire had been built on the principle that defeat was worse than death. Put them through, Harper ordered. The Kraxan commander appeared on screen. A towering figure with metallic scales and cybernetic enhancements. But his usual arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like awe. How? He demanded. How have you done this? You were nothing. A primitive species we discovered by chance. We destroyed your station to show you your place. That was your mistake, Harper replied calmly. You thought you were teaching us fear. Instead, you taught us unity. Every species you've conquered, every world you've enslaved, you've created your own worst enemies. We just showed them how to work together. The liberation of Vexenar marked a turning point in the war. Within hours, news of the Kraxan Empire's defeat spread across their quantum network. On 1,000 worlds, slaves looked up at the stars with new hope. The empire that had ruled through fear for centuries was beginning to crumble. Later, in his quarters, Harper recorded a message to Earth. Vexenar has fallen. But more importantly, we've proven something the Kraxan never understood. True strength doesn't come from domination or fear. It comes from unity, from combining different perspectives and technologies in ways they never imagined. They thought they were superior because they conquered others. We're proving we're stronger because we work together. The galaxy is changing, and humanity is helping to change it. Tomorrow's dawn. The Kraxan homeworld of Imperius Prime filled the Aegis's view screens, a planet of gleaming metal and artificial grandeur. Around it clustered the largest fleet ever assembled in the Empire's history, a last desperate defense of their capital. 3 months had passed since the fall of Vexenar, and the Empire was crumbling. Final count, Maya reported from Tactical. Over 2,000 Kraxan vessels. They've recalled everything they have left. Admiral Harper studied the enemy formation. The Kraxan had learned from their defeats. Their ships now moved in new patterns, their weapons modified to counter known resistance tactics. But they still hadn't learned the most important lesson. Resistance fleet reports ready. Patel announced. Behind the Aegis waited not just their original allies, but ships from every species that had broken free of Kraxan rule. 500 vessels of all shapes and sizes, each representing a different path to freedom. Dr. Chen looked up from her station. "We're receiving a transmission from their high command. They're speaking on all frequencies, even civilian channels. Let everyone hear it," Harper ordered. A Kraxan face appeared on screen, older than any they'd seen before, with scales dulled by age and cybernetics that seemed almost primitive compared to their modern versions. High Commander Vex Thor, the architect of the Empire's expansion for the past century. "Humans," his voice carried the weight of ages, "you have caused enough disruption. End this foolish rebellion, and we may yet show mercy. Continue, and we will do more than destroy a single station. We will burn Earth itself." Harper stood, his response calm but firm. "You still don't understand. We're not here for revenge. We're here because you built an empire on fear and suffering, and it's time for that to end. You dare lecture us? We have ruled the stars for millennia." "And in all that time," Harper replied, "you've never learned the most important lesson about power. Real strength isn't about how many worlds you can conquer. It's about how many will stand beside you willingly." The Aegis moved forward, but not alone. From behind the system's star emerged Earth's contribution to the final battle. 5 new Aegis-class vessels, each incorporating technology and insights from their alien allies. From the system's outer planets came more resistant ships, their crews composed of multiple species working together. "Impossible," Vex Thor raged. "No species would willingly fight alongside." "Look around you," Harper cut him off. "Every ship in our fleet represents a people you try to break. But instead of breaking, they grew stronger. Instead of cowering, they learned to fight back. And instead of standing alone, they stood together." The battle that followed would be studied for generations. The Kraxan fleet fought with desperate fury, but they faced something they couldn't comprehend. A force that grew stronger through cooperation rather than domination. Luminara crystal tech merged with Merkai organic weapons, guided by human tactical innovations, and powered by technologies from a dozen other species. The Aegis led the charge, its advanced systems now representing the combined genius of Earth and its allies. Each shot from its weapons carried the hopes of countless worlds. Each maneuver demonstrated what was possible when different species shared their knowledge freely. Hours later, as the last Kraxan ships surrendered and liberation forces landed on Imperius Prime, Harper stood on his bridge, watching the end of an empire and the birth of something new. "Message from Earth Command," Patel announced. "They're asking about terms for the post-war galaxy." Harper looked around his bridge, at humans working alongside aliens, at technology that represented the best of multiple civilizations. "Tell them we have a proposal. Not an empire, not a hierarchy, but a coalition. Every species equal, every voice heard. We'll help rebuild what the Kraxan destroyed, but we'll do it together." Dr. Chen smiled. "They thought they were showing us our place in the universe. Instead, they helped us find it." "That's the real victory," Harper agreed. "Not just defeating them, but proving there's a better way. They tried to teach us fear. Instead, they taught the galaxy hope." As celebrations erupted across 1,000 worlds, the TSS Aegis remained on station above Imperius Prime. Its mission had changed from vengeance to protection, from war to peace. But its most important lesson would echo through the stars for generations to come. True power lies not in the ability to conquer, but in the strength to unite. And humanity, the species that had gone from victims to liberators, from targets to teachers, had helped forge a new future for all species. The stars would remember not just how humanity fought back, but how they helped build something better from the ashes of empire.